Now that he's all rolled up, he's all yours, Nick. Good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate. The boys have stitched me up and given the smallest piece of food in the world as well. But right, that's that strike, and that's where he is the most dangerous. Good boy. Yeah, you can give him a clap, he's pretty awesome, isn't he? Now, that's a perfect example of why these guys need to be respected. Up in Northern Australia, it's deep, dark, murky water, and you can't see them. They'll stay submerged until they're right at the edge of the water. And he will strike out with so much speed that animals with way greater reflexes than you or I will not avoid that attack. So we'd like to show you what he's capable of to keep you safe when you're up in Northern Australia. Now, he'll strike for one of two reasons. Number one, food, of course. The big fella needs a bite to eat. But the saltwater croc, out of all 27 species of crocodilian found on the planet today, are without a doubt the largest, number one, but also the most fiercely territorial. Now, we can certainly show you what I'm talking about, but in order to do that, you need someone who's not real bright to infringe on his territory. Luckily, we brought Hamish here. Hamish is actually a professional barista. He's a hipster from Melbourne. He's got a man bun. But he's also pretty handy with the crocodiles. Do you want to jump in there and splash around, mate? Show everyone what I'm talking about?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Now, I'm not too far away, but tell you what, this still makes me nervous. And have a look, he was ready and set up there, but as soon as I go and get in his water, that's when he really switches it up and he gets keen because he gets defensive. Nick, I'm just going to go past him here. I'm going to bring him back around this way. Hey Graham, what do you reckon? Now have a look as he makes his way through here. This is barely knee-deep water, but he can cruise through there and then he submerges. And as soon as he does submerge, have a look at this deeper bit, he becomes that unseen predator again and he just disappears under the water. Hey mate, what do you reckon? And as soon as I start mucking around in this water, that's the thing that really sets him off. It's that territorial response. We'll bring him up this way. You see if he going to strike over on the creek here, but have a look, as soon as he goes under, that's when he goes into hunt and stalk mode, and right now he's going to probably keep an eye on us so he can try to cut us off. And as soon as I get him up here, mate, I'll go around. Now, there's not a whole lot of space over here, so if I do go a bit quiet or I sound a bit nervous, it's because I am. There we go, good work mate, yeah, give it up for him. You really get a good sense of how the crocodile works when you see them moving through these shallows. In the wild you wouldn't be able to see this behaviour, but the reason Steve built the crocodile the way he did is so that we can show you how they work in the wild. You can see this constant method of hunting and stalking, moving through the water, but it's not until he thinks he's actually got a chance to catch something that he puts on that strike with that burst of speed. Now, the teams are pretty intimidating, but what's even more scary is the jaw pressure that they've got. More than any other animal on planet Earth, and it's about 3,500 pounds per square inch closing jaw pressure. So if anything does get locked in those teeth, that jaw pressure, it's not going to be coming back out, he's going to drag it back into the water. And he can do that from the bank, but he's got another hunting tactic as well, which Nick is going to show us.
Thanks, mate. Jeez, he looks a lot bigger from up here. I forget sometimes how big Graham is. Now, we're going to show you another hunting technique, like Hamish mentioned. Their prerogative really is to grab animals from the edge of the water or in the water and bring them back into a place where they can overpower them quite comfortably. Now, if you're silly enough to overhang the water, these guys will use what we call the tail walk, but it's not something we've had to teach Graham. It's a behaviour that all crocs will be able to use and something that helped them survive their first few years of life, because when you're a baby crocodile, you're only 15 centimetres long and you're hanging out in the mangroves and the fringes of the river systems so that other bigger animals, which is just about everything when you're 15 centimetres, don't eat you. So that could be sharks, barramundi, other crocodiles, birds, and they learn that to catch food they can launch up and out of the water and grab things like frogs and insects in the reed. So of course he doesn't have to expose himself, put himself in more danger, and he learns that silly animals will often do it and they can get themselves an easy bite to eat. So he's pretty keen to show you this technique. Good boy. Now, he can actually use that tail to propel him well over half of his body length. He can clear his back legs from the water's edge. There's that jaw pressure Hamish was talking about. I need to change my underpants after that. That's good.
Yeah, that was impressive. We call that the jaw pop, and that is essentially just bone on bone with crushing teeth in between. So you can imagine that anything that gets grabbed by a crocodile is not coming back out. And that's the absolute goal of the crocodile, is to be sitting perched, waiting at the water's edge, waiting for large mammals like kangaroos, cattle and pigs to come on down. They'll grab them on the head, drag them back into the water, and that way the crocodile doesn't have to work too hard. Now, he is absolutely locked onto you, mate. He's not interested in moving at all.
Well, can you sort it out?
So the issue is, crocs are they're an apex predator, but they're also quite lazy. So they make sure that they always target the sick, the weak, the uneducated. So Nick, I'm sorry to say, mate, but I don't know if it's looking real good for you over there. Hey, Graham, what do you reckon, mate?
Maybe you should take your ponytail out, flash it in your head.
We'll bring him out over here. Now, you see a couple of good strikes, and the reality is that crocs living in and around the water are one of the easiest apex predators you can possibly live alongside. All you've got to do is not break these rules that we've been breaking. Don't come down into this strike range of the crocodile. Tip of the nose to the base of the tail, that's where they're dangerous. But if you go back just 4 or 5 metres, you put yourself out of the strike range of even the largest crocodile to ever exist. You'll never have a problem with a croc when you're back here. Don't overhang the water like Nick showed us. That's that area where they could potentially be wading out underneath. And whatever you do, don't go in the water with a saltwater crocodile, because that's when you're going to get their attention. Now, we often hear that they are fast up on hard solid ground, so we're going to put that to the test. Bring it out. So you saw that little swing there, and that was that strike. But once that strike is done, that's actually pretty much it. That's the be all and end all of the crocodile's attack. You can see as soon as he was sort of out and exposed, that's it, all done. He's not going to keep trying because he knows the jig is up. He knows that I've seen him, he's seen me. He's never going to be able to chase me out here on land. What do you reckon, Graham? You want to just try and set him up again over here? What do you reckon, mate? What do you want to do, Graham? Come on. Come out. Come on. That's it. This is really more of a territorial response, I think, now. He's completely given up the fact that he might actually be able to catch us. And that's pretty much it. Which really puts into perspective what a crocodile's natural behaviour is. I reckon I can sit down up here on land, as long as I follow that 4 to 5 metre rule. And sit down. He's got his eyes on me, he knows I'm here. Maybe lay down. No, still nothing. Now, if I go further away, but back towards this water, hey mate, what do you reckon? I'm over in his billabong, he's going to get grumpy. What do you reckon? You're still looking at Nick, you still know he's the easiest target in this whole stadium. Hey, what do you reckon, mate? Nah, jig's up. He knows he's not getting another bite to eat, that's alright mate. We're going to leave you with it. Now, that's pretty much all you've got to do. Stay safe from crocodiles. Now, the reason we try to really drive these rules home is because this is one of the most critically important species up in our northern waterways. Now, once in a blue moon, people have a bad interaction with a crocodile, and unfortunately, the person ends up coming off second best, but it's very, very rare, and in all of those circumstances, the person was the one that made that mistake, going back down into the crocodile's home and putting themselves at risk. Unfortunately though, the crocodile gets labelled as the evil, ugly monster who was out there trying to catch a person, which is not true at all. they're just eating the same food that they've been doing for about 80 million years, and it was the person who made the mistake. Now we're supposed to be the smarter of the two species, so it's up to us to understand how easy it is to live alongside crocodiles, and in that sense, we can make sure that we keep crocs safe as well. Because when we break these rules, we end up creating the conflict between us and them that absolutely does not need to exist. These guys are about as easy as it is to go and live alongside. What do you reckon, Nick? You've been working with these guys for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but I genuinely think it's one of the most amazing creatures that Mother Nature has ever devised. You're looking at a species that hasn't really changed much in the last 60 million years, and to me that's pretty perfect. We need to learn to respect these creatures, to live alongside them, because their role within the ecosystem cannot be understated. Now, there's one bloke who knew that better than anyone, and that's of course that bloke there up on the big screen. You built this crocodile so that he could get this animal into your hearts, and we hope to some measure that we've done that for you here today. We don't expect you to leave the zoo loving crocs as much as we, Steve and the team do, but we certainly hope that you leave with a little bit more respect and appreciation for this amazing animal, and hopefully together we can protect this incredible creature for the generations to come. Thanks so much for being here today, guys. Continuing Steve's dream, keeping his legacy alive. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Must be fun working at the zoo.
Must be pretty deep. I wonder how deep the middle of that is, because it looks quite... Oh yeah, there's Bindi over there. I wondered where she was.